Mr. Greenblatt, is there value in America's leaders in condemning violent rhetoric among different groups in America that try and associate with one political party or another?
There's no question, Mr. Congressman, that we need elected officials, policymakers, and public figures of all sort to call out extremism whenever it happens. And in particular, I'll just say we need, conservative voices to call it out when it comes from the right. We need progressive voices to call it out when it comes from the left. We need Jewish voices to call it out when you hear Jewish extremism, Muslim voices, when we hear Islamist extremism. All of us have a responsibility to do this.
I agree, and it was suggested earlier that there's not a condemnation of Antifa, and let me make it clear that I absolutely denounce Antifa. I denounce any violence used in the name of any political movement that associates with democratic politics, and I would hope that my Republican colleagues could denounce the Proud Boys and could denounce the Oath Keepers and could denounce the whatever percenters group that's out there, and also could denounce this crazy idea that the former president would give pardons to people who were at the Capitol on January 6th carrying a Confederate flag or were part of a group or a mob that killed a police officer. And so I do agree with you, Mr. Greenblatt, that it takes both sides. And I will make sure that you and others hold me accountable when there's groups on the left who engage in violence or violent rhetoric, and make sure that we loudly condemn it. And I would just invite my colleagues across the aisle to do the same, because I think we'll be safer as a country when that happens. And I'll give you the last word.
Mr. Congressman, I'll just give you a data point. ADL, we track extremist-related murders. And in the past decade, we found one Antifa adherent who was involved in a murder. And that happened in 2020. Whereas right-wing extremists have been involved in 75% of the 429, domestic extremist-related murders in the United States. Okay, domestic Islamist extremists, 20%. So just to put it in perspective, like Antifa sure is it a problem in theory, but in practice, the white nationalists, the armed militia enthusiasts, the QAnon adherents, the accelerationists, etc., these literally are a threat to the homeland in a way that dwarfs anything else.
Well said, and I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. Chair recognizes gentlelady from Tennessee.